What up, you guys? Chef Billy Parisi here from billyparisi.com, and today I'm making another delicious bread recipe. We're going to be hooking up a rustic graham flour bread, and we're doing it in partnership with my friends over at Bob's Red Mill. All right, you guys, we are on to bread recipe number 2, and these days are long. I mean, this is legitimately a 30-hour process from the time you feed that starter to the time that bread comes out of the oven. It is a time labor of love, but holy smokes, is it been worth it? And it's been so cool. I mean, the last recipe that I made, that spelt bread recipe, that was the first bread I've actually ever made with a starter. While I've made a starter in culinary school, I actually never got a chance to do or make any bread with it because, well, you kind of rotate stations and that wasn't on mine. But it was very cool, a little bit dense, just an awesome process to understand. This is how bread used to be made. It's how it should still be made. Fermentation and good bacteria is growing to help digest the gluten so that your stomach doesn't have to. It's really awesome, it's really cool, and today I'm gonna be hooking up a rustic bread recipe. We're gonna be using some Bob's Red Mill graham flour. I know you've heard of grahams, graham crackers, got it? Same flour used there, my friends. Really tasty. The flavors are just gonna be awesome. So, just like in the spelt bread recipe where you feed your starter early in the morning, you do that exact same process. I'm not gonna show it again. Click it to go check it out how I did it in the last video, or just watch my sourdough starter recipe to how to do it from the beginning until the end, until it's growing and ready to use in bread. So what you want to do after you feed the starter, let it sit for about 8.5 hours, and then it's time to make our bread recipe. The first thing we are going to do is weigh out all of our flours. I'm going to be cutting it with a little bit of white flour. We're going to be using Bob's Red Mill Artisan bread flour. This is great, loaded with protein, fantastic in all bread recipes. Next, I'm going to be using that graham flour I was telling you about. It is a really dark red wheat. We still use it today in the US. It's awesome, loaded with flavor, nice nutty flavor in there. You're going to love it. Next, I'm gonna cut it again with some Ivory wheat flour. This is literally 100% whole grain wheat flour, but it just happens to be white. It's awesome, tons of flavor in this guy. That's right, we're using 3 different flours in this recipe. What we wanna do next is simply add in our water. We're gonna mix it very well. Again, this is called the Autolyse process. Once it is mixed together, we're gonna put a lid on it and let it sit for about 25 minutes. So in each of these bread recipes, I want to give you a few bread making details if you want to get serious about this, or if you care about bread making that much, just to help you when you're looking at recipes to understand what all this means. Right now we're going to talk about hydration. Obviously that means water, but it's all done in percentages. So no matter what, your total flour is 100%. You're gonna see 100 next to whatever your flour amount is. In this recipe, our flour is 1,200 grams, so that's 100%. When talking about hydration, you really are in between 75 and 80% hydration. In this recipe, I'm at 78% hydration, which is equal to 930 grams. The way that you do this is you simply take 1,200 grams, which is 100% of the flour, multiply it by 0.78 or 78%, and then you're gonna get your 930 grams of flour. That's just a little tidbit when you're reading bread recipes, just to try to understand that. You're gonna need a few percentages higher when using all wheat or mostly wheat in your recipe, more towards the 80% mark. But in this recipe, when I'm cutting it with white flour, 78% is key, perfect. Let's keep on moving. So now, after your Autolyse process has taken place, what we're gonna do now is add in our sea salt. And I've measured out our levain, or our starter. We're gonna add that right to the mixture. And what we wanna do is vigorously combine that by squeezing all of the ingredients together, making sure the levain and the salt works all throughout that flour and water that we previously mixed together. Fold it, whatever you gotta do, mix it up. This should take about 3 to 4 minutes total. And at this point, we're gonna pop a lid on it. We're gonna let it sit for 20 minutes. And then just like the other bread recipe, we're gonna come back. We are gonna stretch it and fold it 6 to 8 times while turning the container. We're gonna come back every 20 minutes for the next 60 minutes until this process of folding is completely finished. And at that point, we're gonna put a lid on it. We are gonna put it in a nice warm place for in between 10 and 16 hours or until the dough has tripled in size. All right, you all, the dough is exactly where it needs to be. You see those beautiful bubbles, that fermentation, that science is taking place in your dough. Looks awesome, smells amazing. The smell, seriously, they're just so rich. This is so great. So what we want to do now is proof them and transfer them over to our bennetons, or also brat forms, in a simpler term, a bread loaf basket. So go ahead and flour those up really well. And now go back over to your dough. We need to cut it in half because this is a pretty big bread recipe. Go ahead and flour up your hands really well. Transfer the dough to a clean surface that's heavily floured. And then you want to sort of form it, get it to an equal shape so that it's very easy to cut. And then using a bench knife, I like to simply cut it right in half. And now what we need to do is fold it. So while you're looking at your dough straight down, go ahead and take the right corner, fold it over to the bottom left corner, take the top left corner, fold it over to the bottom right corner, do one more fold, and then flip it over and start shaping it. Like I say, start from the top and then go underneath in this cupping motion, making a seam at the bottom, but making a nice sort of medium tight ball on the top. And since these are going to in more loaf shaped pans or brat forms, I'm gonna try to shape it to that exact same shape. Once they are to that perfect shape, let's go ahead and just transfer them right over to our bread baskets. And what you want to do next is lay a towel right over top. We're gonna let them proof for about 4 to 4.5 hours. With about an hour or so left in the bread proofing process or resting process, what we're gonna do is crank on that oven to 500 degrees. I've got some nice oval Dutch oven pots that I'm gonna put right into the oven. Preheat those up, make sure they're nice and hot before you want to bake your bread. This is key here. It's almost like using a pizza stone. You want that stone to be hot. So add that to the oven. Make sure it's on 500 degrees. And then let's go back to our bread. A really foolproof way to make sure your bread is done proofing is if you stick your finger in there, make an indent. If it doesn't immediately rise back up, but slowly rises and kind of stops at the halfway point, we are in good shape. This bread looks perfect. So instead of turning it over onto a floured surface and transferring it over to the hot Dutch oven, what I'm gonna do is simply dump the bread right out of the brat form or bread basket in directly to that hot Dutch oven. I don't wanna touch anything, I'm a little nervous. It will sort of plop a little bit, that's okay, these Dutch ovens are big, they can handle it. And now what we wanna do is simply score the bread. If you don't want to score it, that's totally fine too. It looks absolutely gorgeous either way. Let's put the lid right over top. Go back over to the oven. We are gonna bake it at 500 degrees for 35 minutes, completely covered. And then we want to come back, uncover it, put it back in the oven, cook it for another 35 minutes to get it nice and golden brown. Boom, the bread is finished. Let's bring it out and rest it on a rack for at least 30 minutes before cutting into it. As I stated earlier, this is a time labor of love, but you guys, this bread is amazing. It looks incredible, like you're straight out of a professional bake shop. It smells amazing, and the flavor is to absolutely die for. Again, this 30-hour process all comes worth it at this point. You know we have to taste it. Let's try it out. I love that hard crust. It's so tender, the nutty flavor. Whoa, you guys, this is, man, this is like, it's like my favorite bread that I've ever made, I think. It's so good. And I wanna eat it, but if you missed the other recipe, you wanna see some more bread recipes, click the link right here. It is absolutely delicious. You wanna make all of these bread recipes. It's how bread used to be made, it's how it should be made now. Catch up with you all next time.